Greetings, interwebs, it's Jackie K. Guess what time it is? It is time for more Battle Bingo! My favorite. This one will try to trick you. Nope, can I go back to the one I already done? Really? Fine. So, I guess it's up to post-commentating me to keep you all entertained while we try to figure out this tricky Battle Bingo. It's been a week. Technically more than that, but I'll come back to that. I was all set ready to post-commentate because I was working a bit on Donovan a little earlier and noticed that I actually was feeling up and energetic. Like, I was supposed to stream tonight, but earlier on in the day, especially after I got back from my outing, I was just feeling terribly drained and exhausted, and the past week I've had a bit of stomach. It feels like I've had a bit of stomach issues, trouble having energy, and lots of potential signs of sickness in general, but not enough to convince myself that I'm actually sick and I should just sit back and lay back and rest. And I'm not sure how much of it was because of the Mountain Dew, and how much of it was how I was actually feeling. But as I was working on Donovan, I was feeling pretty energetic and ready to commentate. Even though it was right around the time frame that I would normally stream, like I was saying before, I canceled the stream in advance because I wasn't feeling that great earlier on today, and in general I haven't been feeling the greatest. So I told myself if I wasn't feeling great at any point today that I would just not stream. And if I do get the energy back in the evening when I would normally record, I would just do some commentary for Pokémon XG anyways. Because, oh boy, it's been ever since I told myself that I wanted to make Pokémon XG a bi-weekly video series again. It's been a struggle to keep up with that pace. The playthrough I did of Dawn Jin finished ages ago, and I wanted to upload Pokémon XG more often because we've been going through this playthrough so slowly, especially with all the Mount Battle intermissions that had interject. And honestly, like, I didn't really have a choice for the last part because it's been an ordeal. Like, being under level, I had to do training somewhere, and I didn't really feel like I could just make the Mount Battle stuff a bonus video because I was struggling that badly to record episodes. I'm not sure if it'll be up at this point, but the whole ordeal when I tried to resume the plot after losing the Snagga machine, I completely forgot what I had to do next. Like, an entire recording session just went down the drain because of the whole mess of not realizing I had to talk to both Sec and Net, and that they were on two separate floors. At least I was able to make an entertaining video of all that, but I do feel kind of bad for just like several weeks of nothing but training arcs and miscellaneous stuff that didn't progress the plot, just to finally promise to finally get back to the plot and spend the whole video trying to figure out how I'm supposed to progress that plot. It's unfortunate. Like how unfortunately long I was on that screen. I thought I edited everything around already. Oh, and before we get too into stories and tangents, I almost forgot to mention, this video is going to be same format as the previous Battle Bingo, where I leave my first full attempt in relatively full, though while I'm commentating here, if I find myself like stuck on a single card, the opening card screen for too long, maybe I'll stop the commentary and cut it out or so. No guarantees, but a possibility. Once we get past the first attempt and we see how far I can go without trial and error, then I'll start speeding things up and all that. Alright, back to the tangents. I don't mean to just recap previous episodes that you may or may not have seen already. But one, as Battle Bingo, I'm trying to stall for time by doing commentary on anything possible. And two, this is a long-winded story to lead up to the fact of, I might have said, and it may seem like Pokemon XG videos are going to be on a twice a week basis, with occasional bonus videos in the mix, and that's what I do want to have in the end. But with the rate of how recording sessions have been as of late, I don't feel confident in that quite yet. If I count this video being recorded and done, then, well, for one, I completely forgot about my own schedule just because it's been that long. Apparently, I don't start the whole twice a week of Pokemon XG stuff until August. So by the time you're seeing this, you may start to notice a pattern, but also it's all Mount Battle stuff. So maybe I'm being too harsh. But the point is, I don't really feel too confident that I'll be able to keep up a twice a week Pokemon XG schedule quite yet, so cross my fingers that I can at least keep this up and going until September. And worst case scenario, we'll go back to one video a week, and then the schedule brainstorming plans and all that are more accurate in Game & Chills and when I write blogs, just because there's less time frame between when I record and when I upload. But this is a Pokemon XG video, which probably means Pokemon XG fans are probably more likely to watch this, even though I would consider these the least likely to be watched out of all the Pokemon XG stuff, because Battle Bingo. Of course I start talking about that when I'm at a complete and utter standstill with the CPU here. I think the reason I was at a pause for so long was just because of how bad I started to realize the situation was in. I gotta be honest, if I realized that this Gyarados did not have a water type move and had bounce, I probably wouldn't have caught it. So the irony of being stuck in a standstill against a rock type with no moves with only moves that was not very effective against, that irony was not lost on me. I kind of feel like I didn't deserve to win that one. But we take those on Battle Bingo, regardless of how dumb the situation may be. It's Battle Bingo. It's already a dumb situation. Okay, I feel a little guilty about being so harsh on Battle Bingo. I wanna like Battle Bingo. It's an easy thing to do when I want to play Pokemon XG, but nothing else is working in order to take a commentary. Until I get to the point where I end up having to choose between naturally live commentating more plot progression plot stuff, or realizing that I've been sitting on a completely uncommentated video and have to choose between finally getting around to adding commentary to said uncommentated video, or actually playing more Pokemon XG while making actual commentary. Wasn't I just about to say that these are probably the least likely people will watch of the XG series? I'm not doing a good job selling this, am I? It's a little bit of a shame because, as I was alluding to earlier on, I was coming into this commentary full of energy, and because it's been so long since I commentated, and a lot of stuff has been happening, I had all these ideas filling in my head of things to talk about while we were buying time to get through Battle Bingo. But of course, I guess that energy that I thought I had was just caffeine, because now that it's running out, my energy is running out a little bit as well. Maybe I never had the energy for a full commentary anyways. I definitely had ideas, but guess what? I forgot them all already. Actually, do I want to talk about that? I might as well bring it up now, since of all the things that I have yet to record and aren't already scheduled for upload on YouTube, this would be the newest one. Yeah, I appreciate the irony of it all, considering like this is recorded July 22nd. And none of you are going to actually see it until well into August. But I got Pikmin 4. Just got Pikmin 4 the other day. Unfortunately, just because of work, everything that I had to do after work, including the garden, and wrapping up all that just in time to watch a stream that I was looking forward to watching too. Excuse me, I'm tired. I'm not even gonna bother trying to record to fix my voice anymore. Point being, I haven't really had a good opportunity to even play Pikmin 4 yet, beyond the demo. I have intensely played the demo, and honestly it's resulted in me having a mixed first impression of it, but I'm hoping eventually when I get around to playing the game some more, I'll at least come a little around to it. Like, be able to appreciate the game more after spending a bit more time with it. It has been almost an entire decade since the game came out. Really wouldn't want to wait an entire decade just to be disappointed by the end results. And disappointing wouldn't even be an accurate way to describe it, because there's a lot of elements of Pikmin 4 that I did like from the demo, but there's a few elements of it that make it feel off. Make it feel like it's missing some of the things that I actually enjoy about Pikmin as a series. I don't know what it is about the Switch, but it just doesn't feel like I've had the greatest luck with being able to find and appreciate games from it. I mean, this is the console that we got Sword and Shield, Scarlet and Violet off of, and I think I've expressed my feelings enough for those to not dwell on it anymore. But we had got things real early on that were fantastic, like Super Mario Odyssey, and Mario Maker 2, and Mario Party Superstars. Funny thing though, it's just like, I went for all the hype getting Mario Party Superstars, but I have yet to actually play it with other people, which was like my whole primary reason I got in the first place. The Mario and Rabbids sequel was really fun when I played it, but for some reason I just haven't got around to touching it again. Like, the one game that I, at this point, like, I feel I'll come back to even after the Switch has died is Pokemon Legends Arceus, of all things. But there's just something about the game that has a vibe to it where I don't really even need to do anything in it in order to find it relaxing and enjoyable for how relaxing it is just to roam the world and catch the Pokemon, maybe slowly building my way up to 100% while possibly shiny hunting along the way. It just has a unique feel to it that I don't really get with other Pokemon games. Even with Scarlet and Violet, like, sure, the shiny hunting is there, things like sandwiches probably make it easier, but there's just something that makes roaming around the world of Legends Arceus more satisfying for me. And I keep alluding to someday actually getting my thoughts of Scarlet and Violet down in more concrete form, but at this point I don't know if it's really worth it. Would anyone even want to hear it at this point? The fans are probably sick of it, and the haters probably would think that I don't go far enough. So that was the first attempt. Isn't that a great first attempt? Ooh, the spot monitor's responding. I wonder why Pokemon is on there. Well, you're gonna have to go back to the intermission videos because this is Battle Bingo, so we don't have time for those shenanigans. We got a stupid Nuzleaf board to take care of. Pardon my hesitation. I'm so tired. I was right on the edge of calling him Nuzlocke. Fun fact, the Nuzlocke run is named after a Nuzleaf. It feels like common knowledge, but the run's been going on for so long that most people probably don't even remember the origins of it. Which is kind of funny, because I remember the days when the very first comic that showed off the Nuzlocke run was on the internet. I wouldn't recommend looking it up. It's pretty dated. The early 2000s were a different time, and much to my surprise, we have grown as a society since then to be better than certain parts of that comic that I remember. And that's all I'm gonna say about it. If I remember, which I probably won't, there was a video that came on my feed not too long ago that went over the whole history of Nuzlocke, and I knew they were legit because they started right off with mentioning the comics, and they say all you need to know about the comics, so I would recommend that video. If you really want to know and they don't have it, just comment on this video, and I'm sure I'll see the comments eventually, and that will be enough to remind me and update the description to accordingly. And right. Now I remember why this second attempt was so short. Spiel is just a ball of spears, abbreviate at your own free will. So now I remember why I didn't speed up that second attempt, because it was practically non-existent in the first place. Now we got the fun of trying to get caught back up to where I was in the first attempt. Wait. This is the problem with editing and then coming back to commentate the video later. On one hand, it allows me to have semi-genuine live reactions because my memory's bad enough to actually forget the video that I've edited by the time I actually get around to commentating it. I don't even want to think about how long it was between editing and commentating it, let alone how long it was when I first recorded this. But I'll be honest, I was waiting for the reason why I sped it up, but it never came to be. I think it was just a case of technically we didn't see Steelix, but I could have sworn we saw Steelix already. All I know is that most of the non-important stuff is sped up on these future attempts, so I'm just gonna trust my editing self. I'm sure there's some sort of reason that I left the Steelix in. I'm pretty sure it was new. I'm probably thinking of the Pupitar. Cause here we are with the Gyarados again. Why did I bother catching this Gyarados? I guess my mindset was bounce is good if it's not resisted, and I do have a ground type for all the electric types on the board, but I'm starting to see why attempt number 3 here, spoilers, didn't end up being the final attempt. On the tangent of that video of the history of Nuzlocke, surprisingly I stumbled into the fact of Jaden's Animation's Nuzlocke video being on there. More specifically, my shock was how early on in the video that is, and the fact that that video feels like it just came out yesterday to me. So I feel old. You probably should feel old too. Internet just moves by way too quickly, as if time itself didn't already move speedily along, which is life too short. Gotta get at everything while I can. And that seems like a good point to bring up a confession. I'm gonna stop my post-commentary right here and now, because not only am I feeling pretty tired and all that, I stepped away in between attempts to get some water before resuming the post-commentary, and based on the events that transpired in there, I feel like I should go rest. I'll leave it at that for your all's sake. For the sake of your sanity. Man, I've said it once, I'll say it again to the end of time. I hate summer. It is the worst. Okay, enough stalling. Alrighty. It's a new day. I had plenty of rest. Just got done having a nice lunch. I think I'm ready to commentate, if only for a bit longer. Speaking of plants draining into the ground, I think this is a good segue into talking about the garden. Ever since the summer started, and past month or so, it's pretty much been harvest season. Like all the plants we've been growing around starting with the zucchini, they've started to pop up, and the zucchini plants coming right out of them. To the point where we have more zucchini than we know what to deal with. But from what I've heard elsewhere, that's typically how zucchini goes. It either dies, or it won't stop producing zucchini, and you get way more than you possibly could ever need. Even though I don't do all the work in the garden, it's essentially split between me and my dad. It is a pretty time-consuming task just to keep up with it, because I was trying to spend at least spend some of every weekend checking up on it as the sprouts were coming up and weeding things that were in the way. And now that like zucchini is coming up, I have to pretty much check on it every day, even on the work days where my day job's already draining away 8 hours of my day, not including how much time I sleep. Cause if you don't check on zucchini every single day, it grows surprisingly fast. Like, you can clean out all the zucchini in the garden, and then the following day, there's plenty more zucchini ready to go. Kind of similar story with asparagus. Like, asparagus is something I kind of don't talk about, because it's, like, in a sense, is neighbors' asparagus, but they're also family, so pretty much just go over there whenever I want, without actually having to worry about setting up an appointment to go over there. I just, when I have time to pick the asparagus, I go over there, clean out the asparagus, and new asparagus grows right into its place. The entire asparagus field is kind of just overgrown at this point with so many plants that it's almost not worth going over there. It is the longest I've actually kept up with the asparagus. Usually by this time of year, I just give up on the asparagus and focus on our own garden. Because the funny thing about asparagus is, like, it's a very low maintenance vegetable. If you're familiar with bamboo shoots, it'd actually be accurate to say it pretty much acts just like that, where you're not actually picking the plants, you're picking the sproutlings before they turn into plants. So as long as you keep picking the asparagus before it flowers, it'll keep coming back. I'm not completely sure. For the reasons I was saying above of just wanting to focus on keeping up to date with my own garden, I did go pick some asparagus not too long ago, like just earlier today. I think this will be the last time I pick asparagus for the year though. Then again, I said that last weekend. I told myself last weekend this would be the last time I picked the asparagus, and just with the way the morning played out, and I just wanted to get as much as I could done in the morning before the sun got really up there and things got really hot. I guess on a whim I decided to go over and check to see if there was any more asparagus, and sure enough there was. A little bit of a tangent, but the point being is, like, gardening is simultaneously not a lot of work at all, and quite time consuming. Oh, I guess that's the end of attempt number 3 already. That certainly went by. As much as I like to just keep randomly talking about gardening with no idea if people are actually interested in me rambling on about it, hopefully this will be the last attempt, just so I can move on to other recordings. Cause after being knocked out, not quite literally, but might as well, with how tired I was yesterday and just how I was feeling today, even when starting off the day, I wasn't feeling that great. After I was outside and did all the outdoor errands that I could possibly muster, I actually sat down, laid down, and took a nap. Not a long one. Probably would have been a half-hour nap if, in the middle of it, my brain surged me and woke me up saying, what am I doing? I could be multitasking. I'm not using my computer right now anyways. I could just render the Pokémon XG video and possibly finally get started on... How do I say this without it becoming confusing? Basically, I wanted to set things up on my computer so it would work on stuff in the background while I was taking a nap, because I wasn't going to be using the computer anyways. I honestly should have taken care of it, or at least started it all up while I was outside anyways. Essentially, basically how it works, because my computer is old and doesn't have a lot of space, I do the majority of my work off a hard drive. But when I started realizing how reliant I've been on this hard drive, I got thinking that maybe I should just use a bigger hard drive and revert the old hard drive as a backup for something else. So I have to figure out how the heck I'm going to transfer an entire hard drive from one computer to another before actually going through with that plan though. And decided the nap was a good time to get started on that. On a bit of a tangent from that, I'm finally on the quote-unquote Pokemon sleep hype train. I didn't get into it right away because I was a little skeptical on things, but the other night, I decided to give it a try because I was feeling pretty terrible and had a feeling I was going to be taking a pretty long sleep anyway, so what better time to actually get started on it. And turns out that I was right. Like, I did go to bed early, but I ended up like sleeping for freaking 9.5 hours. Like, the exact time was kind of more like 9 hours and 20 minutes or so. And sure, I kind of sleep in during the weekends. But typically, I get so caught up on things, I don't really get to bed until kind of late. Not like midnight late, but late for my standards. And I have a terrible photosensitivity thing, and my window for my room is right where the sun rises, so like 7:30 in the morning, the sun's, even with all the curtains and blinds, the sun is blasting right through my window room, waking up my body, even though it needs a lot, even if it needs a lot more rest. When that sun hits my face, I wake up regardless. And it's kind of annoying because I intentionally turn off the AC as well, because the curtain and blinds would just be blocking the unit anyways. So I don't get any of the luxuries that help me fall asleep. I don't get the cold air out of an attempt to try to make more darkness, and yet it's not enough darkness to keep my body from being woken up by the sun. I used to have a sleep mask, but I kind of lost it, and I keep procrastinating buying a new one. Maybe someday though. Overall though, from what I've tried out with Pokemon Sleep, it seems like a neat, nifty app. I did look into it a bit, and of course, because it's a free to download game, of course there's microtransactions. They seem separated enough from the game that if you just want something to help track your sleep, you never really need to interact with any of the microtransactions. Though there is one thing that I find a bit scummy. Maybe I'll get back to it, but I think this is going to be the big gameplay difference that actually makes this a board that actually win this time. Having this overheat Mandrake doesn't seem like it'd be a big help, but I got big plans for this baby. You'll see. As I was saying though, the only thing microtransaction-wise that I'm kind of disappointed by, that I find a little bit scummy, is that there's a subscription plan. Like, there's a pass system. You get your normal pass for free, but there's also a premium pass system, and it's even like Amazon where you have a free trial, but you have to actually put in your credit card information before you actually use the free trials. Just banking off the fact of you forgetting to get rid of the free trial before it runs out. And the only reason I even care about all this, normally I wouldn't even care, but the whole game is based on tracking sleep, and I'm hoping on using it as a tool to help me sleep better. And some of the features that I find might be useful are tied behind that. Like, if it was a one-time payment thing, I would happily go for it. But it being on a subscription makes me a lot more hesitant. That being said, you saw what we did to the Steelix. I think you know what I'm going into with this. Even though it may seem like a bad idea to bring an electric type against both the ground types, that overheat just really makes work out of the two Pokemon that were... I don't remember how bad Piloswine was, but I'm pretty sure the Steelix was a bit of an issue, so just cleaning it out with overheat, especially because we didn't have a water type move, was fantastic. And Piloswine just gives me another excuse to use the EP, so it's not going to waste. But with Pokemon Sleep, I'm just kind of conflicted about the fact that there's microtransactions in the game at all. Like, on one hand, it's a free-to-play game that's kind of inevitable, and I'm not opposed to developers to getting paid in some shape and form for the effort they put into things. But with the way it was advertised, it just doesn't feel right. Granted, there's a lot more game elements to it than I was expecting, so that helps balance it out, but I don't know. Then again, I've only just... Last night was the first time that I actually used it, so we'll give it a week. I'll probably forget, so if you remind me in the comments, I'll tell you how I've been feeling about Pokemon Sleep, because it'll definitely be about 3 weeks or so by the time I finish recording this commentary and the time that you actually see this video. I'm not even sure if I'll be keeping up with the app for that long, but I'll have more than 1 day of experience by the time this video comes out, at the very least. Oh boy, wasn't that quite a war of nutrition. Aren't you glad that I speed up some things at the very least? Because I sure am. I can't believe it came down to a freaking struggle to decide the factor. I don't even know what I said, but I don't feel like going back and re-recording that commentary. I've been doing that too much as is. The point is, we cleared the Battle Bingo board. It's done. We no longer have to worry about the first row of Battle Bingo ever again. Let's see what fabulous prize we get. We get Poke Coupons, which probably doesn't outweigh the amount of money that I spent, assuming I didn't just reset. But let's see what the first time reward is. And it's a citrus berry. Oh hey, another spot monitor. Again, you'll have to tune into the intermission videos to figure out what that's all about. Here's a hint though, it's in a cave, so there is that to look forward to. So let me double check the YouTube calendar so I can give an outro that's semi-accurate to what to expect next episode. Oh, interesting. Remember when I was alluding to how many shenanigans I went into just trying to get the plot progressing again? Well, guess what? Next episode is the episode where all those shenanigans happen, so stay tuned for a lot of fun and the bare minimum of plot progression. Need to consider this a canon part. If you're curious about Battle Bingo, I don't know when the next Battle Bingo will go up, but I decided to jump ahead and record the Bonsly video, or the Bonsly board, so that'll probably be the next Battle Bingo you see. Not quite sure when that'll be yet, though. So come on back and experience my descent to madness firsthand. Until then, take care.